Hello everybody, Yukiro here, and today we're going to bring you just a few thoughts on Dragon Age for the Veilguard. I've given most of my thoughts already during games, but I thought it'd be kind of nice to, compile them all into one tidy little video, rather than, trying to figure out where all those clips are and bang them together, so to speak. So instead I'm just gonna ramble for a little bit until I get bored. Yeah, I'm just gonna ramble. This is gonna be a rambly video, so don't worry too much about it. Obviously if you've been in any of my streams, you'll probably already know my thoughts and opinions on this game. So if you want, you can skip this video. This is more for the people who care, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so there are definitely things I like about this game, and there are things I don't like about this game. But we'll start with, do I think this game deserves the hate it's getting? No. Do I think it deserves the amount of praise it has gotten from different reviewers, shall we say? Also, no. I don't think it's rated as high as some people have rated it. Personally, I would say it's on like a 7, 7.5. It's an average game. It has its flaws and its positives. But it doesn't do anything I want from a Dragon Age game. But I'm having fun, but I do have a lot of nitpicks with it. But I don't think it deserves the hate that people have been giving it lately. But BioWare has always been a very controversial, shall we say, company. And by controversial, I mean it's had haters since, like, a long time. I remember Dragon Age 2 having its haters. I remember Mass Effect 2 having some disagreements. Most of what I remember was for 3, especially the ending, which that's a whole other issue in and of itself, but but yeah, even Inquisition had a lot of haters back in the day. So this is nothing new. I don't tend to pay any attention to the haters because at the end of the day, they're not playing the game. Like, they don't know the franchise as well as I do. And a lot of them just repeat the same bullshit that they've heard from some other TikToker and who have heard it from someone else who's also heard it from someone else. Kind of like whispers or telephone or whatever you want to call that game, where one person has an opinion but then the next person changes that opinion slightly, and then the next person that tells the story changes it slightly, until the story is no longer the same. So what do I like about the game? Okay, so, well, I haven't finished it yet, obviously, but I do like all the lore that they've sprinkled about. For me, the most important things in a BioWare game is the story, lore, and characters in the world. Combat, yes, but also no. Like, combat for me is hit or miss whether or not I like it. I'm not a huge fan of the combat in the Veilguard. I don't hate it, but it feels way too Mass Effect-y for a Dragon Age game. Like, the combat would have fitted perfectly in a Mass Effect game. It does not fit well within a Dragon Age game. Part of me believes that this is due to them trying to, make another Anthem out of Dragon Age, and then realizing, oh shit, nobody actually liked Anthem, we better, go back to the single-player route. But obviously they didn't want to start completely from scratch, so a lot of those elements ended up staying. So I have a love-hate relationship with the combat. In regards to the characters, they're fine. I love Hardin, she's adorable. Melissa is fine, she's cute, although I do have problems with things. I'll get to that in a minute, it's a different discussion. Nev is alright. I don't think she's really doing it for me. Like, she's not a terrible character, I don't dislike her. But she's very safe. I'm probably going to butcher his name because I keep butchering his name. Lucanis. I really like. He's given me a little bit of Zevran vibes. Just a lot less perverse. But he's alright. I quite like him. Obviously, I haven't met any of the others yet. But we're getting there. We're getting there. There are things that I don't like about the characters, though. Like, as I said, Lucanis is fine. In regards to his accent, he sounds like he's from, Antiva. He sounds like he should be in the Crows. He pretty much sounds like Severin did, with regards to his accent, so he's perfect the way he is. Like, definitely could have done with a bit more stuff with him, but as he is with his accent and who they've set him up to be is fine. My issue in regards to the characters, and this is more to do with the elven characters at the very least, is the Dalish ones, especially Belara. I don't hate her voice, but her voice actress is from California, and you can very much tell she's from California. No hate to the Californians, but the Dalish themselves have always been very heavily influenced by Welsh and Irish, from their namesakes to their accents. I think the only time this wasn't 100% true was maybe in Origins, because they were a lot smaller company then. But from 2 and Inquisition, they had Welsh voice actors, or Irish for some of the minor ones, but prominent characters were all Welsh. So you had Myril and you had Solus as the biggest prominent ones with Welsh voice actors. Now I don't have a problem if the elves are from a city, say Antiva, and they have the Antivan accent. That's perfectly acceptable, because I would 100% expect the accents to be Antivan, if that's where they're from. The Dalish elves, I wanted to see and hear more Irish and Welsh accents, because that's what they've always been set up to be. So them sounding way too Californian kind of takes me out of it as a Dragon Age game. It doesn't fit the pre-established lore that they had. Granted, Solus is still voiced by the same person. Amazing voice actor, love him. But the Veil Jumpers, at least the elven ones, they don't sound Dalish enough. Granted, not all of them may be from the Dalish clans. You've also got a couple of humans in there that I remember. So I don't expect all of them to have, Dalish accents. But the fact that nobody has a Welsh or Irish accent is really jarring to me. I know it's a different location, we're not in Freldon anymore. But the Dalish as a whole were based on the Welsh and Irish. From the fact that we've lost our culture and trying to, fight to get it back. The fact that we've lost our language. And everything else. It's kind of disappointing in a way that BioWare has decided to go the more Californian route. Now, I'm not saying this is what they've done, and people are probably going to make a bigger thing out of this than it is, but in a way, it kind of feels like they're sort of, what's the word? Kind of like brushing at Welsh and Irish kind of sort of like under the rug, as if to say, oh you guys don't matter, it's fine. You guys, you know, haven't suffered. Your representation does not matter. I'm sure it was just that they didn't consider this sort of thing. Again, it's not as big as an issue as like the end of the world. Like, I can get past it, but it is a little bit disappointing. So that's the one thing I think kind of makes me a little bit iffy on this game, because seeing my culture and language and names and everything represented was really, really cool, really awesome to see, and it just kind of feels like BioWare didn't care enough to like want to include it again. Again, this probably isn't the case. They probably didn't even consider it. They probably didn't even think about it. And it's something I can look past. At the same time, it would have been really nice to see that continued. In regards to like the voices themselves, most of them are fine. Like, ignoring the whole no longer Welsh and Irish thing, the voices themselves are mostly fine. The only one I have a problem with is the minor character. I can't remember her name. She's one of the Veil Jumpers. The one that you meet like pretty much at the start. Not at the start, but when you go back into the Arlathan forest and you have to get Alara for the first time. Can't remember her name. I'm terrible at names. I'm sure it begins with an I. Anyway. But I'm not sure if it's her accent or just the fact that her acting skills could do with a lot of improvement. It's hard to say, because I don't want to be mean if it's just her accent. Like, she can't help that. But at the same time, if it's not just her accent, it's like her ability to act, I think they should have gone with someone else. Because her voice, like, I say Blara has a very Californian accent. I don't know where the other girl's from. I didn't really look it up. But her accent stands out like a sore thumb. Like, I know that sounds harsh, and I apologize for it, but it sticks out like a sore thumb. Like, when my friend doesn't like the guy, that's usually with her. I think his voice sounds fine. It's a little bit husky for an elf, but it's fine. He's an old guy. He sounds old. It's fine. It's not that big of a deal. He doesn't sound too out of place, is what I'm saying. Whereas the girl just doesn't fit with the rest of the Veil Jumpers. Like, even if you include the humans and everyone else, and Blara and everyone else, she doesn't sound like she fits in this group. Which, I suppose you can put it down to maybe she's from a different clan, maybe she came from the city and then ended up in a Dalish clan and then Veil Jumpers, whatever. Maybe that'll come up in story at some point, and we'll get to learn that. Again, I have not finished the game, so just rambling. But just off the top of my head, just from what I know now, and not what I'll know in the future, I can't say she fits. Like, she does not sound like she belongs where she is. I don't know what her accent is. It's a very hard accent to place, but she does not sound like she fits in the group she's with. But again, I can't tell if that's just her accent or just really bad acting skills. I don't know. I won't drag on too much about that poor woman because it will seem like I'm picking on her otherwise, and that's not what I'm going for. Okay, moving on from that, I will say one of the nice little nods I noticed was Hawk's outfit from Dragon Age 2, obviously. Was it an option? I think you have to buy it from one of the vendors. I know they had the blood. I think it was the blood armor for pre-order, but I did think the extra 10-20 quid price for the pre-order was worth it, just for a couple of cosmetics. If it was just like a couple of quid, I would say okay, maybe. Like, I wouldn't mind. Like £5 max. Like that would be the max I would be willing to pay extra for just cosmetics. Do not think it was worth like 10 or 20 quid though. So I don't have the blood mage armor. I do have Hawk's armor, which, as I said, very, very nice little touch there. Hopefully we come across more little nods like this throughout the game. I've seen little hints here and there of different things, and I'm like, ooh, that's that, ooh, that's that. But I definitely would like more. Like, I know BioWare probably didn't think of this, but one of the favourite things I like doing, and I'm sure many of you guys are the same, is I like finding little nods to their older games, even if it's not Dragon Age, just little nods to their older games. Like, for example, in Origins, you get a little message, I think it was in Ozma, I can't quite fully remember, but I know it was somewhere, where it talks about the shepherd. And obviously, if you know anything about BioWare games, you know that shepherd is from Mass Effect. So it's just nice little nods like that. It doesn't have to be like law breaking. You don't have to like say, oh, these worlds are connected. Although that is a lot of fan theories back in the day. But it's just nice little nods to like other franchises, or even just within the same franchise. I'd want to see more of that. Because it's always nice to go, oh, this is a nod to this thing, and this is a nod to that thing. And I just like that sort of stuff. So hopefully I see more of that. I haven't seen a whole lot of it, but I've seen some. Now, speaking of outfits, I'm going to talk a little bit about the companion outfits. I don't mind most of them. I will say, Dragon Age has always had dumb fucking hats. Like, you can spin it any way you want. From Origins, we have had dumb fucking hats. Mostly when it comes to the mages. And I guess Veilguard is no exception. Because Nev has some dumb fucking hats. I wish I couldn't, you know, I wish I didn't have to say that. Like, her first hat is, it looks silly on the side. Like, I think if it was on like a normal hat, it wouldn't bother me as much. But the fact that it's on the side is just fucking funny. And it looks so goofy. One of the second costume things I got, her hat looked like a goddamn basket. It looked like a basket. Like, it looked like she had taken a wicker basket, like maybe just the lid or something, and just like stuck on her head. It looked so silly, so goofy, terrible. I kind of loved it, but I'm not having one of my characters run around with a fucking basket on their head. I'm not. I'm sorry. One of the outfits I've got now does not have a hat, so apparently she's not donning any hat because her hats just look fucking dumb, and I don't like it. But I like it because they're dumb, but I don't like it because they look stupid. Anyway. Most of the costumes, though, are fine. Like, I don't have a problem with most of them. It was funny that for a while, my elf was kind of going half barefoot, which tax, because, you know, elf. I ended up putting him in Hawk's outfit. I don't know if I'll put that on my dwarf, because I don't know if it'll look right on a dwarf. But we'll see. And then my elf is wearing a blue robe, which I got from one of the quests. I think it was one of Solus's little memory things. I think, off the top of my head. And it really suits him. So there are some nice outfits, like casual wearing and armor in this game. There's some goofy ones. There's some nice ones. So the outfits are fine. I guess we'll have to talk a little bit about the elephant in the room, or Quinari in the room. So I don't like talking politics. I don't like talking anything like that. Not because I don't know how, but because I just find it a little bit boring. For this video, I guess it can't really be ignored, I guess we'll say. So obviously I have not picked Tash up in either of my playthroughs, because I'm fairly sure she's like one of the last characters, or near one of the couple of last characters that you like recruit, and we're still near the beginning, so we're probably a long way off from getting Tash. But in regards to other characters that are either queer or a representation of something, I'm actually surprised that there isn't as much as I thought there was going to be. Like, you would think that with all the harping on people did about how quote-unquote woke this game was, I was expecting Baldur's Gate 3 levels of woke in here, if not more. Which is surprising, because usually BioWare is the one that does it more than anyone else. But I guess that's just a showcase of where we are in the gaming sphere at the moment. That BioWare is kind of lagging behind in that regards. So I don't think it's quite fair to 100% compare Baldur's Gate to Dragon Age, because they're two very distinctly different RPGs. And I've seen a lot of whining about, your choices don't matter, yada yada yada, so therefore bad to RPG, not RPG. No. Guys, just because an RPG doesn't have as many choices as you would like, does not mean it's not an RPG. There are RPGs, like Final Fantasy, for example, who give you no choices at all, and they're still really good RPGs, and they're still classed as RPGs. BioWare has always been more of, how can I put this? It's always been more of an illusion of choice rather than actual choice, and by that I mean, yes, you have choices in the game, and yes, they can change the outcome slightly. And by outcome, it's usually in regards to, who comes to help you, not how does this change your ending? It does change ending slightly, especially in this one from what I've been told, and I've tried not to spoiler things too much. But from what I've been told from a friend who, is trying not to spoiler anything to me, there are going to be some choices that will change the ending a little bit. But back to the illusion of choice. With Origins, the only choices you really had was, who comes to your aid. Like, did you help the werewolves and have their aid, or did you help the elves and get their aid? Or did you sort of meet in the middle and end up with the werewolves cured and the elves still, coming to your aid? Or which side of the dwarves you picked? And it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day you still get dwarves coming to your aid. No matter what your choices were, the story does not change. The endings doesn't really change. The outcome of the endings might change a little bit, like the little text that you see after the game, but not the ending of the game. Like when you fight the archdemon, the only thing your choices do to change that ending is who your allies are. The only real thing you can do to change the outcome of that ending is whether or not you sleep with Morrigan, or have Alistair or Loghain do it, whichever warden you have with you at the time. That one encounter at the end of the game is the only thing that will really change the outcome of the ending, and that's only whether or not you get to live or die. If you don't take on the ritual, you die. If you do take on the ritual, you survive. That's the literal only difference. Otherwise, it's just a matter of who comes and helps you. That's it. Yes, the background stories do change. Like, whether Blen or Balin, I'm probably butchering those names, is king of Ozma. That might be a little story difference, but it doesn't change the outcome of the game itself. Like the ending part. Either way, you're going to get dwarves to help you, regardless of who you pick. So it's an illusion of choice. And it's the same with what companions you keep or don't keep. Whether you kill them or don't kill them, or just don't recruit them. None of those choices change the game at all. It doesn't change the storyline. It doesn't change the outcome at the end. The only things that change is whether or not you've got allies of one faction or the other. Or, who survives and who doesn't. And the same with Mass Effect games. Again, you can give choices in that game, but the outcome at the end, when you fight Saren, does not change. The only choices that matter is right at the end, where you have to decide on Hayden or Ashley. Otherwise, it's exactly the same no matter who you pick. So it's an illusion of choice. Whereas Baldur's Gate, you can quite literally be evil. You can either side with the three main antagonists and, rule the world. You can agree with the Mind Flayers and become a Mind Flayer and control the world. Or you can, be really nice and say fuck you to all the bad guys and get rid of them all. Or you can blow up Gale, at the first instance you see the brain. So that game is definitely built for choices. It's built as a D&D campaign, and you're just players in that D&D campaign. They're two very distinctly different RPGs. There are some similarities, obviously, and we'll go through those in regards to the quote-unquote woke stuff. Because everyone is saying how woke Dragon Age is. But for some reason, Baldur's Gate is not woke, despite the fact that there's literally more in there that is woke. So, both games, character creation, let's start from there. Both games let you choose male, female, whatever race you want, including skin tone colour. It also lets you play trans. Both games let you play trans. Both games have non-binary options. They're pretty much the same character creation, just slightly. I think Dragon Age is character creation is slightly more. I don't want to say advanced because Baldur's Gate 3's character creation is fine as it is, but you can change a lot more on your character with Dragon Age, especially your face. You can't do that in Baldur's Gate, so that is one of the very few differences to have. But in regards to quote-unquote woke, you can create character however you want in both of them. You can play as a queer character, you can play as a straight character, doesn't matter. They're both exactly the same options. So there isn't really much of a difference in that regards. As for the companions, both games, they are, I'm going to say player sexual because that's literally quite what they are. They are player sexual. It doesn't matter whether you're male, female, trans, non-binary, whatever. You can romance anyone in both Baldur's Gate and Dragon Age. Inquisition. Not Inquisition, sorry. Veilguard. I got Inquisition on the brain today. I really want to play it. I'm trying to not play it because I've got so much going on already. Anyway. Rambly video. So both games have bi companions. However, that's kind of where the similarities with the companions ends. Now I've heard Belara has apparently been in a relationship with one of the girls. I don't know who. I can't remember. I haven't come across anything like that in either of my playthrough. So maybe that's something I'll find later. But none of the companions I have met so far, Tash not included because one, I haven't met them yet, and two, I already know about them. So we're going to ignore Tash for the moment, but we are still going to include them because we know that they are non-binary. Now, I know Baldur's Gate doesn't have non-binary or trans companions. However, many of the characters are queer coded. And what I mean by this is if they had been made queer and could only be romanced by the same gender or whatever, it would not have surprised me just because of how queer coded they are. Obviously that hasn't happened because the studio just wanted people to just romance whoever they wanted. But it would have made 100% sense if they had been, like, limited. And who do I mean by this? Well, the obvious one is Astarion. He sounds queer, he acts queer, and he just, all intents and purposes, is queer. Like, being gay is very much coded into his character. Yes, he can be romanced by a female, but the way he holds himself is very much queer. Another queer coded character is Karlach. She's pretty much a butch lesbian. That is how she has been coded. Butch lesbian. Lae'zel's kind of queer coded. Especially with her sex scenes. Very funny, but very queer coded. So aside from Tash going on to Dragon Age side, none of the characters come across as queer coded, which is weird for a game that's supposedly so woke it's terrible. Like, my brain has like died because I can't even think of a character that is supposedly so queer coded that even I can tell. Like my gaydar does not flash. Maybe that'll change with Tash because now they're non-binary. But none of the characters that I've met are queer coded. It's just how it is. And I would have expected a lot more of that. So for non-playable characters, I've not really come across any queer-coded NPCs either. Like, I'm sure there's some. Like, I'm guessing like Balara's love interest is there somewhere. Don't know where, but apparently they're there somewhere. Where is Baldur's Gate? I can't. Like, there is straight characters. There are straight coded characters. But in such a way that makes it even more woke. They're amazing characters though, but so woke. So what do I mean by this? Well, the only straight coded characters in Baldur's Gate is, I think there's 2 tieflings in the druid camp because they're a married pair. Although it's not confirmed that they're straight, just that they're a married pair. And I think there is a human couple outside of Baldur's Gate with a dog. If you could speak with animals, he's very excited by being called a good boy. However, every other NPC, or at least the majority of them, are either gay or have queer children. Whether that's trans or non-binary or whatever. Like, in Act 2 alone, I don't think a single gnome is straight. You got the obviously gay one who's looking for his partner and is so upset and yada yada. But you also got the lesbian couple. You can completely miss them as a couple if you don't choose the right dialogue and visit people in the right order. But one of them is the one with the smoke powder. The one that manages to escape, and then she's like hoarding the smoke powder. I only found this out on one of my playthroughs because I spoke to the people digging first, and then she was like, "Oh, my girlfriend's and I can't remember exactly what was said, but she was pretty much like, "Oh, well, I don't give a fuck about that girl. I'm running off with smoke powder and making it big," or whatever it was she was saying. But she was basically, tell the person I don't give a fuck so you can find someone else. And I was like, "Oh, okay, bitch." But yeah, there are so many queer-coded characters in Baldur's Gate that it makes BioWare games look tame in comparison. And then there's more. I think there were gnomes as well in the factory. I can't remember what the child was, but they were definitely queer because she was worried about them. Or was it a partner? I can't remember. It's been a while. But it was just like, is no one straight in this game? Speaking of the straight ones, apart from those 2 NPCs, the only straight characters, like prominent characters, are the bad guys. You got Patrick Thorne. He is a straight white dude. He was married. If you've managed to find all his notes, is actually anti-LBGT. Or at the very least, he does not like his daughter's heavenly girlfriend, shall we say. Very much detests the woman because she's a woman. Well, not because she's a woman, but because she's dating his daughter. Orin is a strange one. Like, she's more murder sexual than like whatever else. So as a changeling, I'm not really sure whether or not I would count her as straight or even anything else, because she just likes to murder things. I don't think she cares about anything else. So maybe I might not include her, I don't know. But she is kind of straight-coded because the way she goes about wanting to kill people and talking to Gortash, she's kind of flirty in a way with her wanting to kill him. So she is kind of straight-coded, but I don't think she cares. But anyway, she's still straight-coded, so kind of counting her. Cazador might be the only, I think, queer-coded villain in the game. Because even like Auntie Ethel is very much straight-coded. Like, she's very much into flirting with the guys and to like just, to meet whatever end she has for them. Like, I don't think she cares about fucking them or anything, but she's definitely not queer-coded. Karga, again, very straight-coded. Gortash, again, straight-coded, straight white male. The Emperor, I want to say straight white male, but he's not white, and he's the Emperor, so can and can't conclude him. And then obviously the other forms. I'm not really sure I don't really know enough of them. Like, I don't think they ever said one way or the other. Pretty much all the male, like all the villains, apart from like one or two, pretty much straight white. And male. In any other media, I'd be like, ooh, that's a bit man-hatey. It works in Baldur's Gate because they don't make that like apart from Ketheric Thorn, because they do make that his whole stick. But besides the point. So yeah, don't really know much about Dragon Age villains other than the fact of Algernon and Gillenane. I don't know about their sexuality or anything, so maybe they're queer. I don't know. From the little we've seen of them, they seem very straight and more interested in power and dominance and whatnot, and godhood, than anything else. I don't see them as queer-coded, but maybe my opinion will change later. But again, when you compare the two, there's a lot more quote-unquote woke stuff in Baldur's Gate. People can deny it, they can pretend it doesn't exist, and they can pretend that, oh, that doesn't make it woke, when you have, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If Dragon Age is bad because it's woke, and the reasons woke is an issue is because of inclusivity, then so is Baldur's Gate. The only difference is the type of RPGs they are. Obviously, I prefer Baldur's Gate to the Veilguard, just for what it can do and the story it's telling so far. But in terms of wokeness, and again quotes, there's more in Baldur's Gate. There just factually is. I have not come across any people constantly whining about their boyfriend in Dragon Age the Veilguard. I just haven't, okay? Maybe I haven't gone there. Maybe that's coming. That's what she said. I'm not sorry. Now granted, again, we do have Tash, who's non-binary, and I do have to constantly remind myself of that. But aside from Tash, and maybe Belara, now I know the companions do get together well, at least a couple of them do get together if you don't romance one of them. So I guess you can count that, maybe. Yeah. But they're not queer-coded. Like, if Belara wasn't currently romancing or starting a romance with my elf dude, I wouldn't have suspected that she was in a relationship with a girl. I wouldn't, because she's not queer coded. And I don't know whether or not BioWare just didn't think that they should make characters coded to be queer, because obviously they wanted their companions to be romanceable by anyone, and they thought maybe their audience wouldn't want them to be queer coded, or would, I don't know. But BioWare just doesn't have queer coded characters other than Tash, and I'm not even sure if Tash is queer in sexuality ways. Obviously non-binary, but in who does she fancy? I don't know. I'll have to update maybe that opinion another time when I actually meet her. But none of the characters I've met so far have come across as very queer. Whereas, again, Baldur's Gate has several. I'm sure I'm going to get some whining in the comments about that, my opinion on that, but whatever, I don't care. My opinion, and that's what I'm sticking with. Do I think, going away from the whole political stuff now, do I think the story is any good? It's okay. Like, I've done less story stuff on Riesel, my elf character, because I'm trying to catch up with my dwarf. Like, I don't want to do story stuff until I've sort of caught up, because I want people to have my genuine first reactions. So with Riesel, I've just been doing a lot of I'm gonna say side quests. Like, they're not really quests. I'm trying to open all the boxes, like the special boxes, and getting all the solar shrines and stuff like that done. And I'm trying to upgrade the strength of the 3 factions. Or is it 2 factions? No, it's 3. 3. So I'm currently doing that to try and pass time. So story-wise, I haven't gotten very much further than my dwarf character. I think I've done a little bit more with Riesel, but only because I've done things out of order. Well, or in order, I don't know. It's whatever. So, from what I've seen of the story, it's fine. Like, Old Gods come back. Solus is trapped somewhere, I don't know. I would have liked their original idea where we were chasing Solus around and trying to, like, thwart him. Because this might be an unpopular opinion. As much as I love Solus, and I definitely understand where he's coming from, as a Welsh person, I can relate. Maybe not to the whole Veil thing and tearing down the world, but, you know, still relate. Because that really sounded like a really good idea, you know, trying to thwart Solus. But having one of your companions, like, being the antagonist of the next game, that sounds like a cool goddamn idea. Like, that is something I might do in a story one day, for a sequel. Have, like, maybe not the protagonist become the villain, maybe a friend of the protagonist become the villain, like a companion. Because that is a really cool idea. I do like that you can still treat Solus as not an antagonist, because he's not really, but you can definitely have quips with him in the Fade Dream thing. So that's still nice to have, but I would have liked to have had more chasing Solus, not just at the beginning. I do feel, with the way they've set up the game, because it's not exactly open world, it's kind of like Inquisition was a little bit, where they have large set areas which feels open worldy, but it's still a set area. Fuck you, hinterlands. So it's a little bit overwhelming in that regards, because it's just, the area is just quite big. Like, it doesn't feel big in some instances, like the cities. It doesn't feel too big there. Because you're a little bit more limited as to where you can go. But especially in Alathan Forest, it isn't huge, but it is a little overwhelming trying to reach every area and get everything. It's definitely a little much. I don't know if it gets better later. It definitely comes across of the whole Anthem style they were going for originally, where, you know, multiplayer and online service and everything. You can definitely see those elements in this game, which is very off-putting for someone who is used to, you know, RPGs, proper RPGs. I still consider Veilguard an RPG of a sort, but it's more action RPG than what it used to be. I want to go back on the combat again, but we've already discussed that, and we all know I hate it, but I like it, but I don't like it. I definitely think if this was in any other game, it would be fine, but because it's a Dragon Age game, it just feels very jarring, and I don't like it. Anyway, we'll not rant about that again. Try not to, anyway. So I definitely think story-wise, they could have sort of done more with the areas. Like, there's small little mini quests in the different areas. Like in Alathan Forest, you've got the spirit that you can help out with the different, like, dead people and Kala that you come across, and you soothe their, like, spirits' emotions. You got the owl little quest where you can either fight spirits or whatever to unlock, like, extra things. And obviously you've got all the, like, the statue stuff and the little puzzles. But they could have done more with side quests that kind of not progress the story, enhance the story. Like with Dragon Age Origins, they had a lot of minor quests in their areas. They didn't, like, progress the story, but they definitely enhanced the story and the setting they were going for and the areas they were in. Like, you don't have to do these quests, but you can, and it gives more lore and stuff to the area and stuff. I think the Veilguard is missing a lot of that. I'm guessing due to time constraints and needing to, like, redo the whole game God knows how many times. Typical EA BioWare fashion there. I say as a Dragon Age 2 veteran. But hey, at least we don't get, like, reused areas like this time, right? That's a bonus. I will never stop making fun of BioWare for Dragon Age 2 repeated areas. That was terrible. Never do that again, BioWare, okay? Never. So there's definitely things that are okay with this game. It's just, I think it just feels more hack and slashy / actiony than I want my BioWare games to be. Hopefully they realise that this isn't really doing it for them, and they go back to their older style. Like, I can understand the graphics being what they are. They're not my favourite graphics, but it's been 10 years, so it's whatever. I don't care. The graphics are fine. Characters, if you make them look goofy, they're gonna look goofy. If you don't make them look goofy, they're not gonna look goofy. It is what it is, I don't care. It's not a problem, it's not a positive thing, it's not a negative thing, it's just a thing. Does not matter. But for me, I definitely think they need more stuff to do, and less of the, oh, we gotta get this chest from this area, oh, we gotta get this artifact from the wolf thing, and none of it matters. Like, all it is like different outfits for you to wear, or different weapons and stuff. It doesn't matter. Like, you could completely miss it and it wouldn't matter. I want to say I'm a completionist, but I'm not really a completionist. Like, I'm not quite on the level that some of my friends are. They're definitely completionists. But with my Dragon Age games, I can be. Like, I want to know all there is to know, and I want to do everything there is that can be done. So it's this game's definitely missing that vibe. The story itself, though, seems fine. Like, I know there's some dark moments in this game, for people who are saying, oh, it's not dark. There's dark moments in this game. I mean, I don't know whether people saw one of my streams where I pointed out the tree people. I don't know how else to describe them. Clearly shit went down there. Okay, it's not the darkest thing ever. It's definitely very hinted at, and you don't need things to be in your face to be dark. Like, just subtle things can be dark as well. But I know there's a scene coming up. I don't know when. I got spoiled it thanks to Facebook. I hate Facebook. Thanks for the algorithm. I hate you guys. My own fault, but still, hey, fuck you, Facebook. But I know there's a scene coming up. I don't want to spoil it for others, so I'm not going to say what it is. But let's just say it's very dark. Very dark. Like, I've not actually seen this sort of thing in a BioWare game. And I don't mean I've not seen dark things in BioWare. I mean this specific situation. I've not seen that. I'm betting we still don't get any brood mothers, though. I want brood mothers. BioWare, give me more brood mothers. I know this isn't a blight, because it's the Evanera's coming back, but they're blighted. Give me fucking brood mothers. I swear to God, if I don't see a brood mother, I'm gonna flip. I'm not gonna flip, because I know we're not gonna get any. Like, we haven't had one since Awakenings. It's just a fact. We're not gonna get any more. Anyway, sad. I'm sad. Anyway, I don't really know what else I want to talk about. Maybe I'll have missed something I really wanted to talk about when I started this. And I'll be like, oh yeah, what about this thing? Oh fuck, too late. But I think I've rambled on enough. I personally would say this is a 7 out of 10, maybe 7.5 out of 10 most. I don't think it deserves the hate. I don't think it deserves like a 9 out of 10 or whatever it was the critics were giving it. I don't think it's the best game ever. It's average. It's not bad. But it's not really doing for me what Origins and Dragon Age 2 and even like Inquisition did. Like, those games, I kept wanting to play the game, like, even into the wee hours of the morning. I still wanted to play the game. Even though I was like falling asleep, I still wanted to play the game. This game's not really doing that for me. I'm still enjoying it. I'm still having fun with it, and I'm enjoying what I'm seeing lore-wise and character-wise. But I think the gameplay and how much of the online bullshit thing that they still have in here is kind of making it less fun. Still fun, but less fun. Hopefully that makes sense. But anyway, those are my thoughts. I don't know if they're good. I don't know if anybody cares. They're just thoughts. If you like the video though, like it. If you don't, dislike it, I don't care. Because at the end of the day, we all have our opinions, and you're entitled to yours, and I'm entitled to mine. I'm gonna see you all, hopefully soon. And hopefully I'll have other opinions eventually. Maybe. I'm tired. I'm gonna go bed. Maybe. I'll see you all guys later. Nasta.